Okay, here we are. Another Monday morning, 8:03 a.m., 2/26/2024. Kingman, Arizona. We'll be talking about the high desert. Okay, we are live here in Kingman. Monday morning on February 26, 2024, 8:03 a.m. And we are talking about outdoor activities. That's a big area for outdoor activities. A lot of hunting and fishing and mountain climbing, rock crawling, whatever you want to call it, rock climbing, 4x, rock crawling, 4x, and motorcycles, horses, tons of outdoor activities. And we have a lot of trails too. Of course, the new Mojave Wash project has a trail running alongside it through town, which is a nice, I believe it's a cemented path. But that goes through town, and not as much wildlife and outdoor stuff. But if you go to the Wallapai Mountains, up to the Wallapai Mojave County Park, you'll find definitely plenty of trails. The Boy Scouts built them, I don't know, a lot of years ago. I know they were there in the 80s, maybe in the 70s. And I think it's about 6 miles of paths when you go from where it starts at the top. Of course, if you go down to, what's it called, Deer Valley, which is down before the park starts, you can get another 1.5 miles or so added on to your hike. And it splits around the mountain. It goes a potato patch loop, goes one way around, and the other side of the loop goes the other way around. There's a nice lookout out there. It's a big rock outcropping that sticks out and gives you a beautiful view of Kingman in the valley between the peaks. And if you keep going up the Potato Patch Loop, they all meet back to the peak, and there's a nice park bench up there. You can sit and you can see the whole view of the whole valley. And the back part of the Potato Patch Loop, of course, takes you to the Boy Scout camp. There was a Boy Scout camp up there. Usually the fence is closed unless the Boy Scouts are up there, but if you're hiking the path, it goes right through the Boy Scout camp before it comes back down to the main loop exchange. And so then we have Fort Beale trails. I don't know if you know about Fort Beale, but it's off the side of the highway as you're going towards Vegas, 93. And it's kind of, there's not a way to get to it from the highway there. You have to take the last street in Kingman before you're leaving town, and then take, what is that road? I know Clacks Canyon is what it turns into. I'm not sure what it is right there. But it curves around behind the mountains. It comes all the way up to the backside of Kingman. But as you first go around the curve there is Fort Beale Loop, which is the hiking trails. And I think there's about 1.5 miles or 2, I want to say, right there on that side. They connect under the highway and go to Monument Valley, which is, if you're going up 93 and you look to the left-hand side, you'll see a opening cut into the mountain there. That's an old Indian spot, but that whole area over there has been turned into trails, so you can hike through there and see all the rock outcroppings. And Fort Beale Loop also connects. That goes under the highway and comes back and connects back to Fort Beale Loop. But at the top of Fort Beale Loop, at the top of the mountain, there is a run that runs right across the ridge of the mountains called Castle Rock. And that takes you out to a historical marker by the side of the road. If you're taking 93 to Vegas, it takes you out to that historical marker. gives you a good view of Golden Valley. And of course, it's right up there by the mining district, Surbat, um, Mineral Park, that area. It's up over top of those, so high, up over top of that. And if you are out there, you'll see that nice big, I don't know what it is, stone bear on the side of the mountain. But onward and upward. And now we have a lot of bike trails too. Of course, they're in town and around town, but we rode our bikes everywhere. I mean, that was our transportation as a kid. It wasn't a bicycle. Then you're in the desert on a motorcycle. But even that, I'm kind of an end of the roader. Most into the roaders, they go out and find the end of the road, as Tom Bodette would say, and I'll keep the light on for you, his book, owner of Motel 6. He used to say, into the roaders, they drive to the end of a road, and that's where they build their house. Because they like away from people, and we have a lot of into the roaders here. Into the road. And I'm an into the roader, but mine's more like I'm going to see where that road goes. I'm going to follow that dirt road or 4x road or whatever it is until I find the reason it's there. Sometimes, we have a lot of power line roads, so they're for maintenance of power lines and maintenance of pipelines and stuff like that. But a lot of the trails are just people going out, hunting, finding a new spot in the desert. Ranchers making, of course, they don't do that anymore. We used to make berms in the middle of the desert to catch water for the cattle, but not as many cattle around here anymore. The cattle business has kind of moved away. So we had a lot more horseback riding too back in the day as an outdoor activity, because a lot of people had horses. Your friend had a horse, or somebody you knew had a horse, and you go riding. Or you could do like we did. We were poor and we didn't have a horse, and my friends had horses, but they were out on a ranch and they lived in town. So we had a 55-gallon barrel strapped to a couple trees with some rope, and it was a bucking bronc training station. You get up there and sit on that 55-gallon barrel while your buddies pull on the springs and the ropes and try and throw you off the thing. So, and of course, the roping guys, they always practice their rope and tricks like that, even when there's, they got very little other time. So, popular outdoor activities. This area is also big in hunting and fishing. I mean, we don't have big deer. And usually you don't get pulled for elk around here. That's pretty hard. The regular mule deer, though, depending on the area, you can get pulled pretty good. And that's a lot of time just outdoors, camping, hanging with your buddies, hunting for food. We also have fishing, of course. Here close to us, we have Lake Mead and Lake Mojave, which one by Vegas and one by Laughlin. And of course the Colorado River runs through there too. So that's all fishing and boating and swimming and skiing. So that's all the activities down there. But if you really like to fish, then you go just a couple hours up 40 to Williams. And around Williams, there's something like 27 lakes within 15 minutes. And so right in town, there's 3 major parks with lakes in them for fishing. We take the grandbabies up there, and anywhere else. There's also a roller coaster park up there, and Bearzona, which is, a live animal park. We have another live animal park right down here, Keepers of the Wild, which is out Old Route 66, past Hackberry. Another big activity, around here is rock hounding. They people go out and collect rocks. There's a couple places actually mentioned near us in some big and famous rock hounding books. So if you go out to Golden Valley and you go to Shinnerup, or if you take 40 out of town and then take the Shinnerup exit, you can take Shinnerup all the way until it goes up against the mountain. And when it dead ends into the mountain, there is an animal preserve up there, kind of fenced off. It doesn't look like much, but it is a preserve where you can't, hunt or anything, but you can walk through there and look and take pictures. And that has traditionally been and has been listed in several books as a place to get geodes. So, really popular spot. Also, if you're going out Old Route 66 towards Oatman, or even through Golden Valley, but it spreads out more, the Sacramento Wash gets really flat over that end and takes a wide path through Route 66 there. Huge path, and washes out all the time. Of course, Golden Valley, was that 68? 68 used to wash out all the time, and one of the deadliest highways in America and Arizona. It was only 2 lanes through there, no bridges, and people going to the river all hours of the day and night drinking. And so, of course, we worked down there, and just about every week we had to assist an accident. But that got changed into 2 lanes. It's divided. Of course, now they put a median down the center and slowed it down to 50 in the Golden Valley area where there's more businesses. When you get out around that curve, the farthest curve out there past all the streets, was one of the most dangerous spots. They'd changed lanes there when they couldn't see. That looks like you can see, but you can't, and then you get hit on collisions and all kinds of stuff out there. But the point is, those washes have bridges over them now, and it's a lot easier to pass through there. You don't get stuck. But if you're over on the Route 66 way to Oatman, there is no bridges. That's still a 2-lane road, very thin, and like they call it the Sidewinder, right? 168 turns going to Oatman, 25 miles an hour. But right before you get there, that's all wash area through there. And the biggest one is Sacramento. It takes a wide path through there. And that area where the Sacramento goes through, there's also a rock shop right out there, right before it, with a huge area for finding Apache tears. So 2 big areas right here by town. And I know that I was just saying on Facebook, need more for kids to do. I was a kid here, but when you come from a city, you're looking for city kid stuff to do. You're not looking for country kid stuff to do. You can spend all day fishing and hunting. You spend weeks. Our whole school come around October, hunting season. There was 30 kids in school. There was 350 out hunting. It just tells you how big outdoor life is here compared to, big city life. So there's other activities too. There's always golf. We have 2 golf courses, one at Valley Vista, one here in Kingman, of course, the municipal course. And there's, I think, 7 down along the river, 7 or 8 down along the river, in Bullhead. So quite a few different kinds of golf. You can, in Laughlin, you can golf right along the river, right around the Colorado River. Down by Needles, you can golf right along the Colorado River. So there's some good golfing. There's also Frisbee golf, I believe there's a course in the Wallapies, and I know there's a course or 2 down here in town in the parks. And it's been a pretty popular thing over the years. Archery. Archery's been another really popular thing over the years. We've had several archery shops here and people that not only hunt, but, target practice. And the same for guns and shooting. We have 3, 4 reloading gun shops, where you can buy materials. A lot of people reload here. Especially, if you shoot, I shot trap for a lot of years, and that's a good weekend outdoor activity too. Shooting trap, box of clay pigeons, a thrower, and a bunch of friends, box of shells, and you got an afternoon. uh, other popular activities. But as more of the ranch people have moved away, you have less of the rodeo, roping, riding around the area. But you also have less of you don't see tomahawk and knife throwing. You do see a little bit of it. There are a few of us here. They tried to open a place that had that type of stuff, but I don't think there's enough of us here. But there are some of us here that do throw as well. Um, Rock climbing, did that a lot in the Wallapies, and even right down in here in town, that the mountain kind of a slaughterhouse area. The train goes by there. That whole cliff face, behind El Trovador Hill, is a great climbing area for in town. And there's some good sheer cliffs up in the Wallapies that are pretty good for climbing too. Of course, with any of that, you're out with the wildlife. You really got to watch for snakes. You got to watch for mountain lions. There's a few other things. I don't think we've ever had bear in this area. You get it more towards Williams, and you might have bear, but they're usually at Bearzona. They keep them fenced or try to relocate them. I heard a report of a couple mountain lions out in Golden Valley too, causing trouble, but I believe someone went out there and game and fish. It's called Wildlife and Game Management, I believe, or something like that around here. They go out and relocate them or do whatever they need to do, especially when they get too close to people. And they can be big and they can be dangerous, and they'll definitely eat your cats and dogs and even small children. They'll eat you too. They're big. They can be really big. Same with coyotes. Coyotes are for your pets. Dangerous. Very dangerous for your pets. And it used to be, that's one of the things we had. So when the season was overrun with rabbits, you would get a bounty on rabbits. So you'd go out hunting rabbits and, get $7 a pelt or something like that, or $7 a body, take them to BLM. And then there was after a year of, a lot of rabbits, then there's a lot of coyotes. And so you do the same thing. You go out and cull the population. Otherwise they overrun. And we've seen other overruns here too. I want to say that was 81, 82. We had a tarantula migration through Golden Valley. The ground was literally black and moving through Golden Valley. And you couldn't drive on 68 through Golden Valley without running over. Every crunch, constantly. And the road was slick with the dead bodies of tarantulas, which there's quite a few varieties of tarantulas. In this area, like I said, that was a migration through the valley. And it could have been, construction from the Vegas. It's kind of like Vegas was pushing them south, but they could have just been a normal migration. And we've seen the other things like, overrun with rabbits and overrun with coyotes. I've seen a couple years that were really heavy with scorpions, and a few years that were really heavy with rattlesnakes. But a lot of the snakes you get nowadays are the garden variety too, which is good. You get king snakes and that stuff, and they will actually protect you against rattlesnakes and eat the rattlesnakes in your garden and help keep your pests out as well. Another popular outdoor activity is gardening and landscaping, since we have 250 some odd days of sunshine, it's a good place for outdoor activities. A lot of people here have private planes and they fly, go out to the airport. If you're the sit-at-home type, of course you're playing video games and you're drawing and reading. But after a while, I did all those things, especially as a kid. I was more withdrawn and not, out in the world. Part of the things that happened to me, made me kind of, I don't know what to call it, agoraphobic, where you want to stay in the house all the time. But after, reading and playing and seeing everybody else do adventures, and they say that in books too, you can read about doing things or you can go do things. And so I just started doing things, and it's actually taken me to 4 countries and 36 states. And I enjoy getting out there and doing stuff. And this is a good area because, like we said, 250 days or so of sunshine. I was going to go over and check on the weather too. See what we got. Oh yeah, there we go. Kind of cloudy today, so we didn't have a morning sunrise. Let's transition this over so you guys can see the live weather cam, of course. Well, I guess whatever loads. The internet's being a pain. But that's about what it looks like. Currently 54 degrees, it looks like. We'd have to check the actual weather app, but the camera seems to be taking forever. Let's see if I can get it to redraw here real quick. Refresh cache page. There we go. Oh, look at that. There we are live. So you got a little bit of sunrise. Let's see if we can take a look back. Oops. No, not you, not you, not you. You. Okay, so we should be able to smooth back through. Take a look what it was looking like earlier this morning. Wow, that's going to be yesterday morning. I'm going back too far. There we go. And so that's about the best sunrise we had. Last night we had some good sunsets, though. I got some good pictures there. And we can go back, as you'll notice. We do time delay on this, too. This set of the camera has been running for quite a long time. Whenever we get a disturbance in the internet or a disturbance, in the camera power, then it of course makes a new weather video. But this weather video has been running live for a long time. This has been our best run for a while. We've been working on this project over a year and a half, and have run several different camera models. This one is all running live in the website 24/7. It doesn't stop. And it looks like got about 12 days there. Well, let's go back to straight live. Now we're live on the weather camera. But I mean, other activities we were talking about, we would go to, a lot of invites being clicked on, I guess, today. 7 new since this morning. And thank you guys for coming if you're here or you're watching somewhere else. Oh my God. I cannot believe it. I think I've been on mute all this time. Dang, my scale was showing that everything was going off. Well, what do I say? I guess we start over, huh? Oh, I can't believe that stuff. Anyway, go back. We're talking about outdoor activities, 27 minutes of blank space. Maybe you've seen the weather cam. Maybe you've seen the other stuff. Mostly I was just running the main screen. But talking about the weather, outdoor activities in Kingman, go back. We have hunting, fishing, hiking, rock climbing, 4x, motorcycles, cowboy stuff, like horse riding, roping, other things like frisbee golf, What else? Shut up. Knock it off. Dogs. Just taking your dogs at a walk. Get out. Well. So we'll try and go back through. Of course, we'll go through two local lakes, Mojave and Lake Mead. Vegas and Laughlin, they're close to Vegas and Laughlin. Big hunting, fishing area here. Like I said, a lot of outdoor people. I was also saying, in high school when hunting season came around October, then we would have probably about 30 people in class. Another 350 were out hunting and fishing. Archery, like I said, knife throwing, hatchet, tomahawk type throwing, that's been popular. Roping activities, riding activities, 4-by activities. Just we were talking about into the rotors. I'm kind of an into the rotors. A lot of into the rotors like Tom Bodette from Motel 6 will keep your lights on. Would say they drive out to the middle of nowhere, into the road, and that's where they build their house, so they're away from people. But my end of the rotor, and of course, comes from we used to go mine hunting and that stuff. Another fun outdoor activity here. Damn dogs! Come on. Okay. But I mean, just out taking pictures. But my end of the road stuff is just see where a road goes. Take it, see why that road's here. There are some that are power line roads and for maintenance of equipment, but a lot are 4-by hunting roads, mining roads, old trails, and the desert's just littered with them. There's somewhere you'd never think, hey, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and here's a road. And we talked about, of course, rock hunting. There's two popular spots in books and rock hunting books and guides. We talked about Sacramento Wash, which is out by Oatman, the Route 66 side. There, of course, there's a rock hound shop out there on the side of the highway, but just past that, the Sacramento Wash has been several times in several books been talked about Apache tears you find there. And we also said, you go to the end of Shinnerump, where Shinnerump ends. You come off of 40, you can come through Golden Valley. And where Shinnerump dead ends up against the mountain, what are those, the Blacks? Maybe. Rainbow? No. Rainbow Canyon's the other side. But right in that area, there's a wildlife preserve fenced off, to keep a safe place for desert wildlife. But that's a huge area for geodes. So people go there and find geodes and break them open and find some cool stuff. We talked about shooting sports, reloading, knife throwing, hatchet throwing, archery, all big popular things out here. Rock climbing, rock crawling. And we mentioned, just right behind El Trovador Hill, the train cuts there through the underneath Wallapai Mountain Road, but right past that huge valley the train goes through that goes downtown, there's a huge rock outcropping, small mountain hill, what we'd call a hill there, that can be great for rock climbing. There's a couple sheer faces up in the Wallapais for rock climbing. We talked about all the trails around town. Of course, we have right through town the Mojave Wash Project, which is a trail right next to the wash that takes you through town. Biking trails around town, that's one of them. But then you have Four-Wheel Loop downtown off of 68, right where they're going to be cutting through the new off-ramp to exchange the 40 onto the 93. And there's a bunch of hiking trails there, and that goes under the highway and goes to Monument Valley on the other side of the highway. You can see that little opening cut in the rock which was an old Indian area, I believe. And that whole area has trails back in there for walking around, seeing the big rock outcroppings. And then at the top of Fort Beale Loop, there's a path that goes out to Castle Rock, which runs along the ridge of the mountains there behind, like Mineral Park and Surbat and that area behind Sohai, and runs out to old historical spot. Old historical marker that's out there on 9th Street on the way to Vegas. And because we do have so many days, that's what we're talking about here, so many days of light, and until, recently, a lot of astronomy. Astronomy, because there was very little noise pollution. In Kingman, with only about 5,000 people or so, very little noise or light pollution, so you could get some good views of the sky. Still pretty good, but as we grow, of course, the lights grow, and as Vegas grows, there from the north, there is a huge glow over the mountains that makes it hard to see any stars in that direction or planets in that direction. Other outdoor activities, like I said, was gardening and landscaping. And you can see this in the weather camera there. That's our landscaped property there, and my mother has spent most of her life on. She used to have 2 ponds, and we had the pergola there that we built, and just a ton of plants you have to take care of too, of course. It's a lot of work, but if you xeriscape and do more of the natural plants and drought tolerant plants, then you have less to do. But of course, if you want to keep it the ground kind of clear, you have to do a drag or something like that. But it's a popular outdoor activity because we do have like 250 days of sunshine. Something like 90 days, maybe cloudy. Of course, this season it sure doesn't feel like it. We've had rain or snow for 2 months. Right? And it's only 54 degrees and it's already cloudy out there right now. Let's see, what else did we have? We go over archery and shooting, reloading, hunting, fishing. Oh yeah, we didn't talk, I talked about it before, but again, we have up by Williams, there's like 27 lakes within 15 minutes of Williams, good fishing, a lot of fishing shops. And if you go right outside of there, there's also a little amusement park, and Bearzona is an outdoor animal park. We have another one just up Route 66 past Hackberry. Here, Keepers of the Wild is another wildlife animal park close by. And like I said, even, going 4x and looking for mines and looking for wildlife, these are popular activities too. We talked about frisbee golf. Yeah, golf and frisbee golf. We have a course in the Wallapai Mountains. We have some courses around town for frisbee golf, and of course we have one golf course here. I think they were just redoing the steps, if I remember right. The steps up to I want to say it's hole 4, maybe 5. There, and you tee off on the side of the mountain, and it looks like your ball is going so far, but it's just because it's a big drop. It doesn't really go any farther. But you got golfing there. You got out in Valley Vista. If you go down along the Colorado River, Bullhead has 7 or 8 courses that I can remember. Laughlin has one. Needles has one. The one in Laughlin and Needles both have, right along the Colorado River, so you get some great views down there. Yes. Of course, other popular hobbies here is cooking. Like, it's not really outdoor, right? But we turn it into outdoor. We make picnics and outings and get a bunch of your friends together and take a bunch of food with you, and that's your outdoor trip. We do have several city parks here that offer a wide range of things for kids and their parents to do. Um, we never, I never really went to the parks as a kid, to tell you the truth. I mean, they had playgrounds at the elementary school, but after that, we always had other stuff. You know, we played baseball a lot. You just, I mean, in the desert, you got open fields anywhere. Of course, you got to jump cactus or make a cactus a base, you know. But if you get a good cleared field, you're close to the houses in here, it's not bad. And out here in when we moved here in Birdland, there was many open lots, and so you just get your friends together with a stick and a ball and maybe gloves. If you had gloves, if you didn't have gloves, no big deal. You just went out and played baseball. Really, really popular here. Boxing, mixed martial arts. You see a lot of people that like to train in this area, you know, maybe just for exercise or fitness. But those can be outdoor activities. I mean, I can hit my heavy bag on my front porch. You know, it's outdoors in the winter during the day and be comfortable. I mean, it's just chilly enough to keep you from overheating while you're pushing the bag, and not too hot. So in the summer, of course, you're not going to go be out boxing, doing mixed martial arts during the heat of the day. You're going to be doing that at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and 8, 9 o'clock at night when the temperatures cool off. But as soon as the sun comes up in this area, you know, the people are out and moving, the creatures are out and moving, I like to say. But when it gets hot, most creatures and everything goes inside. Same with hunting. You go out early in the morning, you know, and then when it starts to warm up, everything's gone. They're all hiding. They've gone underground to get protection from the sun. So, but then at night too, when you get your dusk, you know, the sun starts to go down, all the temperatures cool off. And so those can be the really nice times in the summer. In the spring and fall, it always has great temperatures to do things here. The winter and summer is the only limiting for a couple months, and it's not a whole lot of limiting. I've still hiked the Wallapies in snow up to my knees. You know, it's not as difficult as if, like in Illinois, you get a snowstorm, or like that snowstorm we had, what was it, 5, 6 years ago? We had, what do we have, 17, 18 inches? You're not going to be hiking in the Wallapies there because they probably got, 3 feet. But it's not that much, you know. The highways closed down from Flagstaff a couple times a season maybe, and it's hard to get to the Wallapies, or they closed down the Wallapai Mountain Road, and those people that live up there, are snowed in, but not for weeks and months at a time. It's usually a few days or a week, and especially if you're down here. At 33, we're like 3,300 feet. And so we get snow every now and then, but usually it doesn't stick. Or it melts, a few hours after the sun comes up. So it's not as inconvenient. And the same in the summer. You have the really hot time of the summer, but, it's like the maybe last few weeks of June and July, on the first few weeks of August, and then the monsoons come and cool it off. But then, of course, you have humid and warm, but you still have time to do and things to do during the summer. It's not as limiting as other areas. So we do have a lot of outdoor stuff, and we have a lot of activities, and I constantly hear people coming here and saying, oh, there's nothing to do for kids. When I grew up here, there was 3,300 people. You want to talk about nothing to do for kids. But it's just imagination and desire. If they want to do stuff, that costs money and big city life, go hang out with their friends, that's a lot harder to do. We don't have those kind of things here. But if you want to go hang out with your friends riding horses and motorcycles in the desert, or going mine and 4-buying and rock climbing and rocks and hunting and fishing, all those great outdoor activities, there's lots of that around here. And there's even lots of other stuff too, but you have to be self-starter and motivated to do it yourself. There's not some company that's going to give you the activities. You have to use your imagination, your brain, your friends, what you want to do that day, to self-start yourself and make your own hobbies and fun activities and things to do. Shoot, we had party lines back then. You didn't even have phones. We had 3 TV channels until Fox came around. Then there was 4. Wow. You put up an antenna now and you can get 30, 40, 50 channels. And of course there's cable, satellite, and everything streamed over the internet. But as we are a remote area, of course, a lot better now. We're getting fiber in here, and Suddenlink offers their slow services like 200-300 megs. So we are getting more services and things like that as we grow. But we didn't have any of that. And yeah, as a kid, I always said I was bored. But then like I said, I read a lot. I programmed. I did art. Hunting, fish, 4-buying, mining. Rode our bikes a lot. We rode all over town. Go visit your friends, go pick them up. We can go sit down. I don't know if anyone knows what T Hill is anymore. Overlooks 66, just a hill kind of in the center of town, right behind Lamelli Garden Arts. There's a hill there at the top. And across the street from Lamelli Arts used to be, what was that? What was the name of that bar there? But there's a Mexican restaurant and a bar there. And they had live music and jam sessions on Friday and Saturday night. And of course, we weren't allowed in the bar. We were kids. But we ride our bikes to the top of that T Hill, sit up on the rocks, and we could listen to music all night long. Well, till 2 o'clock. Usually the band closed down before that. But I think they had jam sessions on Friday, and then on Saturday they had a band. And so as kids, you could just sit and listen to that. Watch the stars, sit out in the mountains watching the stars, listening to music, live music. So there's always been stuff to do here, and there is always stuff to do here. It's just not big city life. It's country life. You see a lot of people say, oh yeah, people here, they're moving slower too. Everybody in the city's moving 100 miles an hour, and they're all caffeined up. And just about 100 years ago, we were complaining about caffeine in our food and drinks because it was a dangerous drug. And now we don't even think of it as a second thought. But when you think of, basically making your system have anxiety by feeding it some caffeine and the fast paced life that we do live nowadays, makes for a lot of problems and mistakes. People don't realize it. We're trying to do stuff fast, but that's when mistakes happen. And so I don't believe caffeine is a good drug anyway. And we shouldn't have it in our food and drink, but that's neither here nor there when we're talking about outdoor life. You don't want caffeine and sugary drinks in the middle of the desert either. They dehydrate you. So drink a lot of water. A lot. The sun can just sap it out of you. And so you really want to stay hydrated. And it's it can be very easy just in town. I was working one day, and of course, it was the same day. I get out of my truck to go check on a broadcast antenna. And we're not in town, but we're not, you know, out in the middle of nowhere either. And I step out of the truck and I walk about 3 paces and hear something behind me, and I turn around and a snake, sidewinder, comes scooting out right where I stepped. But I went and was working on the job after we got rid of the snake, and we're working on the job, and you start to get, like tunnel vision. It gets darker around the outside and starts to narrow down. You get a little bit of a headache, and you start to feel dizzy. And you're already at the danger spot. You need water right then. And so luckily, of course, we always carry water. And if you've read or listened to anything we do on security in the area, one of the things is carrying a couple gallons of water with you no matter where you go, carrying a blanket with you, carrying survival type stuff in your car 24/7 no matter where you go. As you break down in the middle of nowhere. And I know that we sell cell phones as, safety and security, but when you're in the middle of nowhere, a cell phone doesn't work. And every few years, we find somebody who either wandered in the desert, was driving in, off the beaten roads and break down, and they don't make it back. Back to civilization and people. Another habit we talk about on that is, telling people where you're going and when you're going to be back. And don't go in the desert alone. And I know I say that, and as a kid, I'd be on a motorcycle in the middle of the desert. If anything happened to me, I would have been screwed. There'd be no way to get back. Nobody would know where I was. But, my parents would know that I'd be at least 30 to 45 minutes from the house on the motorcycle, but they wouldn't know where. And it was wide expanse. So there's other things to think about there too. You should always have a buddy, some kind of buddy with you. You should let people know where you're going. Even if it's just, going out for rock hunting, you never know what's going to happen. I don't know I think this was a couple weeks ago, we were talking about my buddy that they were snake hunting, and, they come across a mountain lion and it wanted to eat them. So, and even, I think a few months ago, we had a lady in the Wallapies killed by elk. And normally there's in this area, and they're not violent or anything. But we've been out camping and had mountain lions just sitting on rocks, watching the dogs run around. And of course, I've been other places like in Alaska. It was much more dangerous in the wild in Alaska. A little bit different, and of course more bear centric. And cold there instead of the heat. A lot of people I met there, they're like, "Oh, how do you live in Arizona?" And same thing. We're like, "How do you live in Alaska?" And we do see a lot of the guys from there and hear from them, because there's 2 places that pilots go to train. They go to the outback, middle of nowhere, the bush, what they like to call the bush pilots in Alaska. They travel up there with all the storms and mountains and thermals they get from cold weather. And then those same pilots come right here to Kingman, Arizona at our airport here, and they train in heat thermals. So we get a lot of, we call them dust devils, but, little mini tornadoes from the hot winds building up and building itself into a little whirling dervish. But the pilots want to fly in those areas in the mountains the same, because that is where the worst possible flying conditions you'll ever meet in the cold and the heat anywhere on the planet will happen. It'll either be in Arizona or Alaska. So they train there so that they can be prepared when stuff does happen and they're flying. Another popular hobby, right? Flying. We don't see a few ultralights in this area. We do see some hot air balloons down. Lake Havasu has a big hot air balloon thing, and ultralights, but not as many as you'd think. I mean, for the area that we have, you'd think you'd see more. And if you go to Sedona, Red Rock area, then you would definitely see a lot more. They have gliders, and they have just about any plane you can imagine flying. They will take you up over the Red Rocks of Sedona, so you can get those great views. Such a gorgeous area up there, and that's not far away either. You look at Oak Creek Canyon and Sedona area. That area is just so gorgeous if you like the outdoors, and it's even higher in the mountains. In fact, that Oak Creek Canyon gets really dangerous when it snows and they close the highways and stuff. It's really slick. Small mountain paths. But other type of activities, we have a lot of crafts. A lot of crafting and crafters. And of course, the Native American crafts are big in this area too. You can just sit around the house and make all kinds of stuff. And even a lot of people make it and sell it in the gift shops. Because it is a huge Route 66 area too. So you got a lot of travelers coming through, and they want kind of authentic, or something to remind them of the things they've seen and where they've been. So the main thing is a lot of activities here, and a lot of outdoor activities. If you can't find something to do nowadays, you're pretty hard up. I mean, I could program on my phone. I can sit on my phone in the house and program websites, computers, whatever. So nowadays, it should be fairly easy to keep busy. Of course, in this area, the outdoor stuff is way more prevalent. Way more prevalent. And then you see people who move here who don't like that outdoor stuff, we're going to stop the hunting and fishing. So you won't find many people who agree with that around here. Like I said, when I was in school here, the school almost shut down when it was hunting season. So a lot of outdoors activities, a lot of outdoor people here. Well, since we had, about 30 minutes of dead air, and another 30 minutes here, we are almost at time already. This one has gone by fast. But I think last week we did the how to connect to Discord. So you could chat with us, become a guest on the show. Of course, you can always leave your comments in any of the chat categories in the Kuhl Productions server on Discord. We're still working on a Live Kingman community on Discord with prizes and games and all kinds of stuff like that people may love, may not. We'll see. We are getting more and more. Like I said, we had like 8 or 10 people hit the link to the Discord during the show today. And I think we're over 160 people have checked it out. Clicked on the invite at least. And tried to come down. Of course, our site is livekingman.sowronggaming.fun. And you can catch us on Facebook, of course. We have Liv Kingman Facebook page, which we should be broadcasting on live right now. And we have, of course, a Liv Kingman and a Kuhl Productions LLC YouTube page. Two separate pages for broadcast. The big reason being is our weather camera is using our Liv Kingman broadcast through YouTube. Liv Kingman broadcast straight to YouTube.
I think we got carrot.
Something's going on under there anyway. I'm going to have to kill this. The dogs are out tearing something up. So, thanks for watching though, and I will see you next Monday.